The students were introduced to a set of work by the curator of various war artists, some well-known names like Sutherland, Nash, Dame Laura Knight, and we also looked at other works from illustration or illustrators and other associated fields. One of the things I found surprising, particularly with the students, because I didn't really know how they were going to react. When I voiced it to them, some of them were quite negative. What do we want to go and look at something to do with the war, etc., etc., etc. And of course, typical students, once we got down there, they were absolutely fascinated. But it was the different variety of approaches, but also different areas of interest that they took, which was completely unpredictable. I thought I knew what each student was going to like, and of course I was completely wrong in each case. Each one of them picked up a particular aspect from the various different artworks and artists that we saw, and quite often seemed to develop a whole area of interest that I just didn't expect. It was quite an extraordinary experience. Educationally, it was an interesting experience because it took students into a period which is clearly beyond their own time, maybe kind of touched on by their grandparents or even great-grandparents in this point of time. Also slightly odd for me because war child, just born just after the war, parents met during the war, it had a different kind of resonance to me. But then to discover that we had a large number of female artists that I'd certainly never heard of, and certainly the students had never seen. I'd never seen their work. There was very little reference. I had one or two students that did considerable amount of research and found out that they did have quite a successful life history after their period as war artists. But it was interesting because the majority of my students on the course I run are female. It was kind of good for once to show them a whole collection of female artists and, of course, the representative, significantly showboated male artists as well. But what was interesting to them was these female artists that weren't maybe the top rank of what people would think of from the period, but were obviously clearly representative of what was going on in some ways, somewhat more down to earth in terms of their subject matter, more connected with the incidents during the war and what they were looking at.